Bringing the news from Banjul, the Gambia, as usual, Monday to Friday. Today, Wednesday, the bulletins, the headlines first in English and Mandinka, then after some of the details. We start with Standard newspaper. Kansala now warns prosecuting Jammeh will cause instability in the Gambia. And also, Ahmadi right to borrow over threats by Imam Fati and others. NAMS defend 100,000 clothing allowance. And then 5 Senegalese charged with attempted human trafficking in the Gambia. So the down OIC Secretary General due in Banjul to discuss summit preparations. Then Justice Bii-Kiibaaro, ex-principal magistrate Bii-Kiibaaro in $200 million suit. Let me expand whether it's true or not. Justice Bii-Kiibaaro, an ex-principal magistrate Bii-Kiibaaro in $200 million suit against Gambia government. That's too much. So let's continue with the headlines from Standard newspaper. Gambia ranked 50th on Press Freedom Index. 50th on press freedom. Still far. First batch of trafficked Gambian women arrived from, let me see, arrived from Oman as they requested. So let's continue. Still there is another. Not. These are the headlines from Standard so far. Let's go to Point newspaper. Point newspaper. The first story on Point newspaper. That is no Gambian among the first UK-RWANDA deportation flight as they ordered it or ordered by the judge from UK court. And then Gaj Global boss Abubakar Jawara continues testimony in GAM petroleum trial. Study recommends establishment mortality surveillance system in Gambia. Government partly accept protection of media freedom. That's not right. And IGP's nationwide tour reaches climax. That means the end. Fisheries Minister visits Magilak Fishing Investment. Prosecution witness continues testimony. So now the national news from Point newspaper. MOH, Ministry of Health, shares findings on mortality survey in Gambia from 2016 to date. NEA, National Environment Agency, and NDMA claims oil spillage in Kunkujang. And then Peace Hope. Gambia holds work for peace March past. Training of youth leaders on media, information, and literacy underway now. So I think those are the headlines so far from let's go back to Standard newspaper and start with the first story from Standard newspaper in brief in English and then in Mandinka too. The first story on Standard newspaper, let's change the scene now. The first story on Standard newspaper, Kansala Nam won prosecuting Jammeh will cause instability in the Gambia. Now the details. This one by Omar Ba, Standard Reporter, and read by Hajjadam Air Radio Saljeruna, Spain. The National Assembly member for Fonyi Kansala has warned that prosecuting former President Yahya Jammeh will defeat the purpose of reconciliation and further disunite Gambians, as he said. Jammeh, who has been in exile since 2017 after losing to Adama Barrow in December 2016 presidential election, is accused of gross human rights violations and the TRRC, which had those violations has recommended his prosecution. And then, last month, the government published its white paper on the TRRC and has accepted 263 out of the 265 recommendations, including prosecution of Jammeh and all the original junta members. But speaking in a Standard exclusive yesterday, Honorable Almame Giba said, prosecuting Jammeh will be a recipe for instability and disunity. I have facts about what I am saying because he is still popular and has a strong fan base that is unshakable, as he said. The government should be careful of how they handle Jammeh's situation. Therefore, I am appealing to all Gambians and the government to find ways of reconciling for the interest and well-being of this country. We cannot continue talking about Jammeh forever because we have more pressing issues to deal with, he said. Giba said Jammeh should be given the opportunity to react to all the allegations against him. That will give us the opportunity to know his accounts of what happened. Forgive and reconcile as a people. We have a nation to fix and we cannot afford to be distracted. He said, Giba said supporters of the former president were not convinced that he was notified by the TRRC to testify at its proceedings. They should show us proof that they have written to Jammeh because we are not convinced that he was notified, Giba said. He said the government white paper is just an opinion of the cabinet and it has no legal basis, as he said. The white paper will go through a lot of processes, including the parliament, so anything contained in it and the report of the TRRC are just mere accusations because Jammeh should be heard before we ascertain whether those accusations are true or not. True or not. He said also, all those who testified at the TRRC claim to have acted based on orders that nobody can verify whether Jammeh gave them or not. It is easy to say Jammeh gave us the orders to go and kill so and so, but who was there when Jammeh was giving orders, and where is the evidence to prove that he gave those orders? I am saying this because there are people who were blocked from testifying at the commission. He said the TRRC, which should have been an element of reconciliation, has, beyond imagination, further divided the Gambian people We have also seen the government picking and choosing which recommendations to accept or reject, and when it comes to justice, there should be no pick and choose, he said. Giba said he is still committed to introduce a private member's bill to ask for Jammeh's return. Jammeh's return. In a conclusion, if that doesn't work, I will make a motion in Parliament. Therefore, I am still committed to seeing that Jammeh return to this country. If he is to be prosecuted, that accept is not my idea, but he has to come back to his birthplace, he said. Stay tuned, don't go away. We'll be back momentarily after a short while. Yo. Assalamualaikum bari lokal kontong continue Bii-Kiibaaro la bata men la kungul karan sante angle counto aning first story men karan kabo standard mbidin ya Jammeh la kola dibitaw men be foni Kansala ala opinion men di ya Jammeh la kitindir court so kibar kum follow men fintita standard wala mu woto ko may dandalaro ke ko pour kana ya Jammeh kitindi o be kala fenne jasinana Gambia se makan samano jele o wasi Gambia mamandino le komen ate min iran so nimbodo do katan dan la amadiya le safero ke kata baro ya le ka fay ko imam fati komen silandro menke anin do katan ten komen ela kuonyin do amadiya le le letro safe ka ki aram baro president bani nimbodo dibito ngaje ko mazisi aning jana halong badibu central la dibito no badibu central la dibito ko be yin fasa kan de kodo men ya dila pro ela sidfanol ka mena clothing allowance itol be wole fasa kan in standard ka chata wal nimbodo e Senegal mo lulu yawlul muta ko la vida ka hadama de le traffic ko ka monika hadama de business ke samba banku ko tan la nimbodo do OIC muslimo lain kafuba ila cheba ila secretary general gamina banginu atemela abina 3 days official meeting on laget Gambia banko kan bari projet go be ke kan somito ina karolo kamala ngamira bina ole observation on realize lageto kafo kititelal men ko justice e pala anim falang memo ex principal magistrate no Gambia banko kai ka fay ko abi ke ñunu Gambia masakunda la samba kitidula ko be men kanin kan wala mu dolaro million keme fula ñin kuma kan findal no bala fala mutana ko take alon termination la kete ila kolto maybe man kontane menna o yatina ko e masakunda su court yo iko Gambia be tonko mento ni nata e press freedom comme ñin kibar bondol ni fenko ton temprum tram fambulo la ila fita ka men safi ni malwatina eko silla talulu ibe wala kono ala index to ni ko 1 2 3 kata o itol be woldo silla talulu Gambia be woldo to salon ko nin ko mun tol be temale hani bi press freedom man soto Gambia banko kan ni nata be tembo men nimboro ko batch follow men ye mol men business yi Oman banko kang musolteng la batch follow pleno mem yante samal na follow nyin anyanta ka foto stante Gambia banko kang nimbodoro ngata jana ngata point ni se fanna kibar kungul ngol fanan jibe kay fale man ka count point la kibar kum follow ko Angleterre banko kang la fita refugee men ke murnde kati bi dom Rwanda o janni bi talala bi tayla bankol kan damen ke identify bari e ko nyin min nyanta kata Rwanda tan kabo Angleterre nyin refugee Gambia din te kono nyin flight follow men bota jeto because nyin karo ke no akola le fo Gambia non o Senegambia dingul ba flight o nyin kono bang flight follow men nyanta ka wuli kabring kiti tela sonda ay order di bari kokurning e ka samba lualla ni ma samba lual rong setinyarok o kamala kabring jojo nyin sonda puruka ni refugee men dunda France la kadadung Angleterre banko kang illegally so men they were exhausted with their asylum so kamala la asylum seeking mang nana alternative sort of puruka skiono nyame Angleterre banko kang because ya jele ko they illegally entered into the territory of UK o kamala jojo nyin sonda purke murundi banko kang santeng e banko men locate pour be mol sambala ngale kampo la sotla jibi sambale bi sin lagi to level la sponsorship kala tani ba fola be identify la ke be janjandi la bankol ka Africa banko kulgul ba nyinka so ko bari Gambia din kilim mambula nyin first flight o min bita Rwanda te so nimboro e comme Wakar Jawra na jele ñu wato kono atle be CDRO kerkang inata na petrol bungoyin essence bungo membe mandiraring ko essence men kasata yeto ko di jama la karola la kol men ya du ñoko ne jeta pala la karola ade fanan ko men fanan ko ate kadi fula sopla o tajet lo so kamala inata to fo jela nin do ko tan do ko don so ade fanan bala CDRO di kang santeng be continue kan wol ye karan do ke de men onatna ya maro di purka lon tro ke fenne kafmina mortality surveillance wala halama don la kola ina ta jibe system o men be Gambia banko kan sorry purka quota ka jibe expand man ning what they mean by that so the joint study conducted by the Directorate of Health Research under the Ministry of Health in collaboration with UK Public Health and Medical Research Council and its partner has strongly recommended that establishment of an electronic civil registration and vital statistics CRVS as well as mortality surveillance system in the Gambia comme system all wrong min lafta kam min lonni halbadum la karola fu ku ko tan la nina ta statistic la comme nankamon la agricole la ni ku ko tan so ma continue hanbi kibar ko la men finda point ni sefa ko masakunda amanson kol bela de nina ta kibar bondo la Kenya la Gambia banko kan komen kakedron impartially komen wala mudon e membe fo wala kiwa bondo la karola freedom o nyina expression o sinaje ko molse liberty no nyamen seferlal en ko kibaro bon bari manson ko partly yo mo rong manson abel so ina keta koti o karol komen tiara silo kuma kan manson jel nimboro ministre bunda mata jata kande ko la Gambia banko kan wol fane la kiskisrol men bondi ko men bota men fol wala mortality sobi me ya Gambia banko kan kabo 2016 kata bila ye wala janjang inin do nyoltem ni wala mo na danda wala mon be mar la ning NDA inal kata ka folti men ye fitaro dati sai ni oil company anin na fonko men be nandang fe kamen pro nin no kata je ku gada o men ka nandang control den da pour ka fitaro ke tulo men bonta kunku jango dandang laje otmo be sopla o jindi kan kulungo kono pipe crackta bonta ba kono ba dandang la ay damen affect sai bolel clean kan fita kan e ko ka fo men ko peace hub ko men wol fanan na santen taman soto ka men ko Cairo tamo yemen dante o match pass e wala ke ngalon ya ke bangin so o pipelines la ba nyinka e ko funding ko karandro dati purumun na nyaton kayala ni nata e media olen kibar bondulati hanin kibaro fon ka mena information anin londo ayo karangola karola on the way coming literacy on the way coming mu fenneti saferola karola bi karandi kan wala la nin kibaro bondinya la nin nyaton kayala ni nata media marketo nyinto so mo kibar ko de men findida point is so ngamuru ngamen follow karang ana dungo kono embe go standard la kibaro dibido e kuma ka o memfo ko kaya Jammeh kitindi Gambia banko kan sinana mamma samman Gambia banko kan ko because hanibi ya be darjar in Gambia banko kan ne ala fans base in the strong ne I mean itan yo Kansala dibido yin men ay dandalaro ke ko kaya Jammeh kitindi ko binana fenna sammal na wala banko ka jijan te men dante yala opinion so ka continue men yin kibaro safe wala mo Umar ba standard la kibar sala ka continue kibaro ngina dibito membara foni Kansala ay dandalaro ke komen kaya Jammeh na president ko to kitindi komen obina mane kala rong wol abi tinale molla fitam menna bo defeat lale abo boynd lale wala be ko purga murunyo kan Gambia yom menta mitatem anim fanan sinana Gambia de fanan talay ka menna dus unite Gambians kolam bim farala nyobala len tinakeno la kiloro ya Jammeh ning ya kidini Gambia bankoka ako Jammeh bantala kabrin 2017 kabrin aboita election on December 2016 sang kono ko election president karte fawo men kirano ko ya tumi munala ko ay halamadi ya nyanti tinya menke kala tambo ke molla nyantoto ko men tiara sila hiarin yin kono wato nyinna o nyum violation ol ya fol to bari o kolalen kabri ya bang tiara sinat na ya maro men di wala ron ka ya Jammeh ka akitindi anim fanan ado nyol ka continue ko yin lokun tambilala insa foto nyin karta bila man sakuna na publish ke ko men kala fon white paper nyin ka fintende mobe yaje ko mem to lementa tiara sila ya maro nyin kono men bi ko mo keme fula mo tang wor anisaba e bol talale e be kitinla e ota inula ya maro nyin kono ni ya konti ni memfo e mo fula drop jeto bari in ko mo keme fula mo tawor anin lulu to le keme fula tang wor ni sabalata ko be men kitinla e fula drop wala ko imam pare ka wol kitin ka continue diamola wato la inu standard kunum mem ning standard be jam ko yin dibito yin ka fay honorable almami jiba mem fo standard ye ko kaya Jammeh na ti Gambia banko kan ka kitindi obe kala fennati sinana men soton di Gambia banko kan wala mu instability wala tenkumbali abola samal nan mamang abola samal nan banko kan ka continue anim fanan disunite wala mu abna Gambia dum farala nyobala anim fanan ko I have facts ko ate ay tonya la soto nyin kolla abe men fo kan ten santen katuko ne ajibe ya Jammeh hanbiya bi darjarin Gambia banko kan de ayte men dante anim fanan ya ala fan base ko mol men ya kano ka kelo kay ke fanfay wo bisiyarim Gambia banko kan dum o buga jija freng no moto jija nola almami jiba yemen dante ka continue hanbi almami la kuma kan anin standard men tala nyotema wala yinti ko ata jiba ko tiara si hay nun kumu na cause a lot of damages coming in tinyar balake ni na ta ya Jammeh la karola and if ko wala muntong they caused enough damage coming sante yemenke akanyanta le puru kayala kul kati ya la kotinya Gambia Bangkok o ya fangotinya Gambia Bangkok ako if Jammeh were to be prosecuted come ako nada for ya Jammeh ba kitin ako it would put the country in disarray wala nginto ako wekela kuleti Gambia Bangkok te lafila wala weka kumulu njaw balde atla dan terote wala nginto ye ya damage le de pare ndonka kitini fanan ako God forbid atagamen dante ka continue ako mansa kula o nyanta hakilot la bakele ka to ko ya jamra ko iba to ko la nyama iba umtala nyama iba ay mem fo ko ni na taw be ko la kati abidandro ki kan Gambia dingol be pour mun na ni mansa kula ka je ko isla ko tengini pour ntol be murno la nyoka nyamen isinaje ko kaydo sina continue no banko kan membe kala banko dingol la well-being di comment na taranya banko kan sikeno fende ay betia akati be wala dani kan Gambia dingol yani mansakula ako te continue no wati ya Jammeh mantra diam man diam ko so manko ko so fo katra diam la ya la ko la tron forever ako fau ko te kenol ako kadi ko we have more pressing issues to deal with common something atajol ben kande fengol men nyanta keke o kol men nyanta keke Gambia sol menna me temmo mento ngamira ko nganyat lengol la ngol ke dan yala diamo ngo kanyande bito gibay men fo ako Jammeh should be given the opportunity ako ya Jammeh nyanta ka wato diala ati fanan pour mon na drong kana ka diamo to mirol men ya alakan wato la TRC ako that will give us the opportunity to know ko senat nantol fana molmen bi la moy kan yala ko la wati sinaje ko his account la karola ko men keta jeto fana so itan anin fana ka continue ka yam fanyo anin ka murnyo kan as a people ko men badin to be mo hadama dingol ti gibay men dante ako we have a nation to fix ako na banko be tembo men to nyanta ka adida abidila tunkul to be tembo men to ako manyan na kasongin na purumon na rong kusina mense usai koma au dante natna men fo kota ka ati jiba ko soportal teng men ko ya Jammeh fasalal teng impresan kodo ako ñun hani bi malla kula de komen fo TRC wato men ne be la moy kan sedolla fo ya Jammeh safe le rol bang pour kanana testify ke ako ya Jammeh la fasalal man law ko la hanibi fo ya safe le rol no comme proceeding be ke kan wato men ako de so comme nara kulemu to nyalem ye prufo bonni comme mense to nyandi ko ya Jammeh safe le rol pour monadron ako we are not convinced ako ni o manke do ito sonna mume ko to liya kalamdande pour ase onan sinana ka diamo on the ala side of story na ate fongola koñing fon menketa fanansi jabiro keno wota asata TRC nyindo bari nyin ko imanson la bari ata keta fanan TRC nyanda ko justification no bon letro me yaki ala copy na tenden fana ko ya gibi ay membo ko mansa kunna la white paper wala nyin kaydi ko me la wanda bon laten last month ko ini mu fenne zon opinion la molla jernyalen ko me la vitamin ko wala TRC moldi anin en sabro sorry cabinet wala minister men sita kunna ka jibe to la vitamin kala la vitamin kitin le man la fi men kitin la ako nyim man legal base soto wala amang tara loi bunda kilne to wa man tara lare loi bunda kilne kam because molla opinion wala jumalti wala minister sita anin baro wala man sakunda tron ko nyajibe nyin kayti ko nyin men anyanta kata sila jamala la follow janni ba fala avec la kutino wala mdurang follow avec la multi parliament wala député bon fay tambe otola janni ba fala avec effect nola ako o kamala ako anything contain ko kurne nata be nyin kayto kono report la karola TRC ko nyumo fenedi mutumiro do tumur kensan la te memf ani bi ko manke fendi men abelorin comme tumur kensan la ni ajibe ko kadu ko ya Jammeh should be heard comme mol nyanda ka ya Jammeh fana moy afana na karo ni nasina dia ngono nyaadi pour afana tumirol men la kan aba fandi fen laje nyame jibaye men dante ka continue o TRC be men claim can have acted based on orders comme nyimmu fenete don ko TRC be blari men kan don nyimmu fenete don orderlem that comme ya Jammeh ka ikafoko ya Jammeh leka ordered but nobody can verify comme imol men bi tara TRC la moy ila kuma kan la abebe digirin ko ya leka afu ko yinke leka ya maro di ka mena order I mean dante dem akobari nobody mo kilinte lo no la mense ko nyin ka je ko untonyaldi comme ko ya leka ko order di or not fata bugadi fata kadi ako nyum feneta sonata baket to isi lo no drong comme bari momen tumiro bata kan faransa fono na keba wala ka fun ngayinke nyimmen manyan akak o order nyin pour mun drong kata ka molfa comme ko sonata baket pour mo yo fo isi lo no yo fono bari o mari mantra lori inyati lo ko so and so akamen dantete who was there ko jumale bije otumo ko wa ya Jammeh be in kango dilela watol men pour ka je ko sa evidence sotno pour ka hitande ko tonyala ya le oda dila prosina kata mol fa o ka ku ko ke mol yengini karo ke wodo onana continue ko ate men foka wala nginde this ako nyin ko nyin ako kati ko nyagi be there are people mol be jela men where block comme dol bi mansong inati arasi nyati la pour ye diam pour sinana cdro di jeto comme ça no nyindo ako o ketal ay même fo fanan ako nyagi be ate he said the TRC ako TRC which should have been comme TRC yanda kala joranti men kanana ka reconciliation ke wala ka mol murni nyokan TRC yanda kala joranti Gambia banko kan has beyond imagination comme men yanta men momam men fam mira inatna men ko foda divide in wala into strong Gambia dingul e wala tala nyot yali nyobala kamen kan fara nyobala kan sabindi nyol ko we have also seen the government natna man sakunda fanangelo fananga men kan pick yasika yemol mosika yedo sika yata komen yata febo nyame wala ka mena pick yasika choose komen o yemo men chode saji ko albi mentala which comme nina da ya marola karola pro sonta mentala anin falang e mental mansonala and when it comes to justice comme nina da tilong la bundala ko TRC la karola mansakunda menke woto ngo ako mbengo jel ako there should be no pick and choose comme wala wotron kamo chode ya ta ila fita men febola ani mala men febola ko manyana kasoto nyu ko kono fere ka continue na duna men fo fanan oti jiba ko is still committed ati hanbi abe parna pour kanana ka mena private members bill bilo me aba dala pour ka kanindro ke ya Jammeh murna wala député bo nyindo ko hanbi atebe parerin walal ka continue ko kum fadlala ko if that doesn't work ko men ning ata bilo nyingo manna work no ko pour ya Jammeh murna wala Gambia banko kan akwabina mosono kela mosono min député bo nyindo ko da I will still committed rolling into wrong about parela purka jeko yaya Jammeh waina Gambia banko kan atla foreign if he is to be prosecuted ko nata hanifa iba kitin la nyimu ko ko that accept is not my idea ko mu fenati atik take o idea take no atata purka song wala ko bari he has to come back rolling into wrong ya nyanda kamurna Gambia banko kan awuluda banko menkan ar komen pour nana da fo ba kitin la fora kitin la ada o banka la idea ti atete o fono la kamala bari anyanda kamurna awulu banko nyinka so nimbolo do ajibe sina kibaro min samana let's go to point yusuf ajibe ngakilim pick o falando sta jagas do manne so ngada yang indomu angalo la banko kan membe dening lontang la karola men oba cross kadung kara angal ter bangko kang government murul ngakarang angal account sinakarang mandika kang nyinto. The headline, they said no Gambians among the first UK-Rwanda deportation flight. This one by Alahaji Mbai, point reporter, Europe correspondent. Read by Haljadama Air Radio Saljero Naswin. Here on our YouTube channel and our 4 Facebook pages. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share with your friends and loved ones. And our Facebook pages, like and share with your families and friends. The headline is finished there, and then now the details. The point can now confirm that there is no Gambian national among the first deportation flight from the UK to Rwanda following unsuccessful bid by lawyers and other representatives to block the aircraft that was supposed to transport asylum seekers to Kigali. They crossed into Britain from France via the English Channel. Following several reports suggesting that it was highly likely that the asylum seekers would be transferred to Rwanda, this correspondent forwarded letters to several charities and legal representatives inquiring whether any Gambian national was involved. Finally, it is now confirmed that so far there is no Gambian national involved or listed to board that first flight to Rwanda. And also it is important to note that all this comes against the backdrop of vigorous legal and diplomatic efforts preventing the first flight from carrying asylum seekers. It was challenged and tested via an injunction in the Court of Appeals. However, the panel of the 3 judges unanimously refused to request those allowing the flight to go ahead. Lord Reid, the court's president, outlined that there was an assurance that if the government's policy of removing asylum seekers to Rwanda was found to be unlawful, steps would be taken to bring back any migrant flow. Furthermore, Judge Ravinder Singh equally noted that the appeals court could not interfere with a prior high court ruling that was clear and detailed. But one of the most devastating and demoralizing blows to the lawyers representing the asylum seekers was the refusal by the judges to even grant permission for further appeal, even though it involved multiple legal challenges. Notwithstanding, despite the relentless criticisms from both home and abroad against the decision, the government mentioned that it will break people traffickers, businesses, models. The government also disclosed that people who are not in the first flight will be on subsequent flights. However, immediately after the decision, the leaders of the Church of England described it as immoral. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees is also furious and fuming. It issued a statement saying it is all wrong and sets a catastrophic precedent. The Gambia refugee who recently told the Point that he was formally contacted to get ready to be sent to Rwanda said, "Thank to God I am still around. As far as my case is concerned, a final decision is yet to be concluded. Unfortunately, there are people who are very scared and nervous. I must thank you for your concern. So it ends here. Stay tuned. I will back momentarily in a while after a short jingle. Assalamualaikum balengolo ka kontong koteke kamurna ka kontine Bii-Kiibaaro la bemeng frandikala ka bo na Bii-Kiibaaro bundal do Gambia banko kang na studio jang na YouTube channel o nyindo nal dum tali subscribe botino nyima o am safari pour subscription la pour ka promotion o ke na platform o nyina anina Facebook page ol beto for nal dunta ali like ali share ali follow. So nga continue mbade men karan sa sounda point ni sebale in membe den in deportation kola flight follow men jojo a rule out coming mo fon men we UK men kundra babalong yin France kara Angleterre channel nyindo beol demande ba murundi kam because imansong la asylum wala nyindi pruka si Gambia bank sorry Angleterre banko kam ari asylum kufulalti o kudantan e bota dame o conflict ni ikola race yeto comme kulmen statina ko ila banko ete sino la jeto so ni man na fenje men is genuine pour ka asylum guarantee itea then when you exhausted with those proceedings then you have no chance. You have to be deported or repatriated. So in situation of Bonya, you come and highlight na screen of the Jammeh in the Bakol, police motor below Menyanta Samba, airport of the Puruka, in Burundi, Africa, because you let target, Angleterre Muneke wrong, it's a more base Sambanola, Linkralto. Before that, Sansa in Kandikano, Kamala, you choose Rwanda, Kigali, the capital of Indo. Same Samba Campo, the dump yeto, then is Nana a cold process yeto, who maybe any one name Dinkra locate no, then is repatriate water. So, continue Bii-Kiibaaro in Hanbi, Fendida, Memening Gambia. Among Ninata Kuala Medening Gambianol, Gambian thing economy, Gambian thing economy, even Ben deport Latin Cabo, Angleterre Bangkok and Kesamba, Rwanda Bangkok and Kigali. Okamala ya Asoleko, Gambia didn't in flight to Ninkon. Ka continue Bii-Kiibaaro in the mea sibi wala mu alaji mbaiti point la kibar dila membe irap correspondent ni wala ñu kuma ka ñu itandi ko Gambia din klinte ñu flight follow kono men ya funyamin purkabo Angleterre banko kan in refugee men sambala Rwanda Kigali ka continue Bii-Kiibaaro nyina ko covering point in sanden ya confirm ya la ko Gambia din kilinde in molmen e beta kan ke bondi Angleterre ke deport ke sam flight follow men nyanda wala Angleterre kata Rwanda covering real ya kata nyawnya pour yin repatriation yin pour ka stop no nyame deportation yin anin do kata men be lore yin molla kola pour ka silo yin block comme aircraft yin kana wuli pour ka yin fonkol ke dema kana ne sam yin asylum sigal men ko be samala kata fe Rwanda banko kan Kigali la capital yin o kamala ko nyajibe di cross de imolu ko cross ala comme motafala nyame kabo France katambi min dol Angleterre channel onye membe tema France ni Angleterre tem ka continue hanbi o kola la ko ni na rajibe kibar jama findamol lo miro la karola membe ko that it was highly likely skeno ko in asylum sigasol in be kala molde be bonlanu ka funyame otumo ke bondi Angleterre ke sama Rwanda ko in correspondent momen aka chugnyolo ke in kola ay na leto tamdi dinkra jamala men be ko ka mena charity men ka makoro ke anin loi dunjo modol anin fana men be lori moli men be ko pourka kisiro ke in kola fo Gambia din ul be in mol kono nyanda men tindla ke sama Rwanda bank koka so go kama ni mufenete akumara bake puruka itandi ko that all these comes in bega da kulite men ye block men backdrop all in the wrong ni mol wato men na naka jibero ko kola kende ga ninata legal and diplomatic wala mu luala silola nim banku tema hormone bunya ko ne ka kol tamani amen o efforts o kata kol men prosinaji ko se tangan ro keno in first flight on in approve menyanda kanyin asylum sigasol men ke bonde Angleterre banko kan ke o block no nyame bari manna na success no ko it was challenging ni mu fenati lo rafile pour ka je ko pour fosina na silo sotno memme ko in Johnson wala ka kuntunte ka londro ke in kola in court comme kiti la nyinto appeal court in the bari amankeno yo in Johnson katale imakeno obe kamala ni ajibe ko panelo men sitanyin kokuna ka mena justice nyol kititelal ol mosabalemu e balanta kan yela bankodo e mansong o kanindrola e men fotem pour nyim flight nyin ko anyanta talal dron anyanta nyim mol sambala wala tinanyim ko nyin safra ranyin tembo e ko memu nyaton ko tigedo president ka fay Lord Reed nyim president men anat na itan troko ko there was an assurance you fenedi be men danke ni kanko that ninata mansakunda la policy comme kol tamandi nyame ninata asylum ko nyin purka bonde asylum sigal ka bonde comme ke bondi sorry asylum sigal ke remove ke bonde Angleterre banko kan ke sama Rwanda banko kan comme nataje ko nyimu fenedi among ke luata ko staple vigile men would be taken comme several means not na puru ni moli se murna back any migrant flow coming migrant flow ta yemen tindi kata Rwanda nara kule be yemen ga aning policy ni manda ka continue ko foda mo be nyatola jojo yin ka ne ko Rabinda Singh awaran na equally comme anin dola karola nungo be kuma kino fa yimeita ni ko that the appeal court or in kitio ka sengandame ko yimu fenete court could not min kitibla wata dakenola appeal court ta dakenola high court la ruling into anin fanan was clear and detailed comme mu feneda be senior ne set ani fanan ya dida nyame ya safi nyame abe senior na set am be koyri mo be mal ka continue ko bari nyaji be one of the most devastated comme men kata tinyar jawo ti kolla karola ani demoralizing wala abe mu kilon te ka kota ka be tinya wala prone to comme nina da loyal karola ye men be kata ila kata kolla ting nim keta kulte wala karola danaka to lemin bedo ko amang anatna ke kensan te men be loring asylum seekers la kamate jojo itan indiano sabo Indian origin en bari nin ko mata wuluta Angleterre was the ako wala ngi do ñun yo balango men ke ñun jojol men sita ñun ko ko na pro ka song pro mon na drong ñi appeal court ñi pro do it involve multiple legal challenges comme ano ako hano ñana ku jamala be je ni ata men siata ba ke ni ata luala karo ñina ako non di non with understanding comme despite ni ata ñun ko la aning fanang relentless comme kaje ko hanika long demanding o hanimalon fereng o despite be kolala ni nada naf relentless comme be do ko men ki gang imang molmang nafa ala karola ni nada criticism la ka continue ko la from both home and abroad comme men be ko diam kante kabo bantala fo Angleterre bank ko kan mukulati ol man nafa yin ko la pro ka challenge nyame against the decision coming in jojoli mentate ko nagibe the government maintain hanbi membe mutarin man sakunda wolen in the drong pro kanyin traffical ke la kotinya wolam droning bila business model oning coming bolet nya kan ro kana na continue no correct man sakunda na fanang ay me tan dijeto ko people who are not in the first flight all men mantra flight following kono wol fanam binana ay be bulan la flight o men be bulan ngin do no ka ko be ko la san san de nagi be after decision kabri ko ya ta fa parida nyaton kol men be choki dinkral do anin fanang Angleterre bank ko kan wole ko itan da ko nyim amanka hormoti feren ye manya men ka ina national fanna high commission men be borlalla ko ko ne kamina refugee also furious in ko kate ko men de ani ko ya warte kan anin kan fa anin ku ko tan lebe ko it is a statement nim kada kuma kan ne men ya dila dilla fo united nations na nim molten saying ko nim fenati is all wrong among betia friend ye men kada man betia friend anin tinyaro men mo ma bodla afangole ka menna catastrophic president ka continue kuna jibe gambian refugee men santen ye men fo gambian refugee kilina mo ye men fo point ye ko dat ate formally kuma ko folo la ya contact le ka fay ko e pare ko be sambala Rwanda ako bare ako adwata alana na tidema ate hanbi abe Angleterre imanna ate sama ako as my kids come out la kuola karola nina ta sulola come nina ta come out la kuola nina kiss me ala kiss me ko a final decision is yet come ate adla ko nyindo metem momento emanna na kuta la ko to follow foba sambala ban fota sambala ako hanbi kuman kumpa ota ko men kada ni ko unfortunately there are people multiple men are very scared with slaring mon ye slari be nervous ring comme abe jara kan ko nyim abe ki jote ka ko nyim fenete ko ate abe douala pour dron ate la carola bari abe tembo men do man decision ta la ko nyin to so mbade on metana le janne bari la tanyum bar ko flolle polalie angalaw ni man ka ko do men ya concern nim ko be mbodo do bari nga kibar kumul karang lele bot angalew ani manika kan into so bedana janna so la barka nal badi malaja dama e radio spain banko kan salsado